Good afternoon, dear students, alumni, and guests. My name is Professor Grażyna Rębielak, and on behalf of Warsaw University of Technology Business School, I would like to welcome you to today's inspirational lecture very warmly. I want to welcome students and alumni of our university, Warsaw University of Technology Business School, and all the guests of our partners. First of all, Goa Institute of Management from India, PRME Graduate School of Management, Politecnico di Milano, the University of Salford in Manchester, Baltic Management Institute in Vilnius, HEC in Paris, the Management Center in Innsbruck, and Zicklin School of Business, Baruch College, New York City University. Today, the inspirational lecture will be delivered by Professor Divya Singhal, representing Goa Institute of Management from India. Divya is professor in the General Management and Public Policy and chairperson of the Center of Social Sensitivity and Action at the Goa Institute of Management. Her teaching and research interests are development, responsibility, pedagogy, and management. And the topic that she is delivering today is striving for positive impact, GIM's responsible management journey. I would like to also take this opportunity to invite you to the next inspirational lecture, which will be held on the 8th of February by Mr. Michał Kazimierski from our school and our partner Values. The topic of his lecture will be Navigating Success in the Dynamic Business World. You will get, of course, invitation to this lecture soon. And now I would like to wish you a very good time with Professor Singhal. After the lecture, you will be invited to ask questions on the chat. Well, Divya, you are more than welcome to start your lecture.
Thank you very much. And namaste, everyone. I'm really honored, first of all, for this wonderful opportunity to be able to present, my institute journey with all of you. Thank you, Warsaw University of Technology Business School. And I also want to thank my colleague, Professor Kanupriya Katyal, who connected me with all of you. So as was mentioned, I will be talking about how the Goa Institute of Management has been able to create some bit of positive impact and what has been our journey. So my presentation for next 30 minutes is planned in such a way that I will be talking about the Goa Institute of Management, a little bit background about GIM, then the kind of practices which we have adopted. I will focus, after the campus practices, I'll focus largely on the student engagement, how we have involved students in the discussion, in the discourse of sustainability with some examples. And of course, then there will be a discussion. Please feel free to put your questions or thoughts in the chat. Now, when we talk about the, campus, the picture which you see in front of you is a campus which is nested in the Sahyadri Hills. It's really a wonderful campus. We were established, just a bit of context, we were established in 1993. So it's more than 30 years of our existence. And we were started by a Jesuit priest, Father Romuald de Souza, who also started other institutes, educational institutes in Goa, in India. So he was known as an institutional builder. From the beginning of the establishment of our institute, we have always believed the power of collaboration, the power of responsibility. And currently we offer courses like postgraduate diploma in management. We have courses in healthcare management, in big data analytics. We also have a specialized 2-year postgraduate diploma in banking, insurance, and financial services. And of course, we run programs hybrid, as well as we have our scholars or research scholars program, which is PhD program. Institute has been an active member of United Nations Global Compact Network India. And I'm happy to share that some of you may know that there's an entity called Principles for Responsible Management Education, which is popularly known as PRIME or PRME. We have been members of PRIME since 2010. And in 2023, we were first time became the PRIME champions. And I'm happy to share for next 2 years, we will be continuing this journey of PRIME championship. On the right-hand side on the screen, the principles which you see are the refreshed principle. And as an institute, we have committed to PRIME principles of having that value. We will teach our students about the sustainability. We will have research which is impactful, which is meaningful, and maybe addressing some grand challenges in a bit, or creating some kind of awareness of the issue. We will believe in the partnership. Of course, the practice is important, and the sharing practices, maybe success stories, maybe failures, maybe learning from each other. That is what we commit to. We are also members of Global Business School Network. We are members of Network of Business Sustainability, and the members of Sustainable Development Solution Network. Why I'm talking about these networks? Because these networks in past, over a decade has given us lot of sharing. We have learned from the different schools about their practices, and we have tried to emulate them or try to contextualize and start in our school. If you see our vision is all about how our graduates should be acknowledged as a transformative leaders. That's what we aim to, we aspire to, and they will be focused on the responsible, ethical, and sustainable business practices. Our mission is all about creating responsible and agile leaders who are at the forefront of the cutting-edge business practices. As I mentioned about our partnership with Global Compact and PRIME, these partnerships have helped us in furthering our strength or strengthening our commitment towards equity, inclusivity, and sustainability. The kind of fundamental values, which I think not only for our institute, but many of the institute who are joining today, they all, I think collectively we believe that academic excellence is important. Collaboration is important. Innovation in today's world is becoming more and more important. From the beginning of our institute in 1993, we have always believed that ethics and is our core distinctive identity. Responsibility towards society and the environment, and of course the diversity of thoughts and opinions. So these are some of the fundamental values which are driving our action towards sustainability. Now, before I go forward and talk about some of our practices, I invite you to put your thoughts in the chat. Whenever you hear the word sustainability, what images comes to your mind? Here, I'm not asking you to describe sustainability. Just put it in the chat. Just maybe close your eyes and think that you are hearing the word sustainability. What image pops up in your mind? If I can have so I can see nature. Thank you so much. Any other input? Whenever you hear the word sustainability, what comes to your mind? What image comes to your mind? I can wait for a few seconds. But generally, recycling and reutilizing, thank you so much for the sharing, that this may be the image of the recycling that comes to your mind. Maybe you see forest, maybe you see streams, or maybe some water flowing, or maybe chirping of the bird, maybe the forest, nature. And whenever I have asked this question about the sustainability, the images people have thought about is green. Of course, that's something which is a very strong association with the word sustainability. But we know that sustainability is and encompasses three key interlocking aspects. And those three key interlocking aspects are about people, planet, and profit, which is also known as a triple bottom line. Or we can say that there is a strong environmental sustainability dimension, equally strong social sustainability dimension. And of course, that's not possible if your business model is not economically viable. So we need a world which is bearable. We need a world which is equitable, but we also need a world, to sustain that has to be viable. So Goa Institute of Management believes in this composite idea of sustainability. And we treat our campus as a learning lab. Of course, we are doing our sincere efforts. We are taking some sincere efforts, and I'll be happy to share our journey. So what we have done, we have established Center of Excellence. So for with regard to the sustainability, we have two centers in GIM. One center, which I am currently leading, that's a Center for Social Sensitivity and Action. And then there is another center, which is Center for Excellence in Sustainable Development. CSD focuses largely on the environmental sustainability aspect, and they work with the waste, water, the biodiversity, those kind of issues. And my center takes up the issues like, or the SDGs like SDG 3, which is health and well-being, SDG 4, education, 5, gender equality. We work with SDG 8, decent work and economic growth, 12, responsible consumption and production. So, and of course, the 17, which is, partnership for goals. So we focus largely on the social sustainability aspect, and the CSD, focuses largely on the environmental sustainability kind of aspects. We are the first business school in India. We are tracking our energy consumption on a live basis. And what it does, it actually helps us track any abnormal consumption and take corrective actions. I'll move some of the slides quickly just to show you that what kind of environmental sustainability efforts Institute has undertaken. When it comes to the energy, we converted all our lighting fixtures to LED. We have solar-powered street lights. We have motion sensors. Our water heating systems are on solar heating systems, be it all our 9 hostels. We have a student population of approximately 1,000 students, and we have approximately 70 faculties and their families living on campus. We conduct energy audits, and we set up just soon after the COVID, we set up a solar power plant of 745 kilowatt, which actually is a significant milestone in our commitment to transitioning or helping towards the net zero India's commitment, because we are helping in our state of Goa achieving that 14% of solar power generation. And of course, it has significantly reduced our own power bills and our carbon footprint. These are the pictures just to show you that these are our solar panels. We have a rainwater harvesting pond, which is a 800 cubic meter of water, which is collected every year. Goa, monsoons are really rains are for 4 months, 5 months, and the water is collected from all the hostel buildings and in these ponds, and then the water is later used for gardening purposes. We have the filtration plant also, and we have done some small efforts, like we have aerated faucets. In the middle, what you can see is the biogel, which actually captures the atmospheric humidity and converts into the drinking water. When it comes to the sewage treatment plant or our waste segregation practices, our careful water conservation practices, or be maintaining our biodiversity. We are very particular about biodiversity. I can share later on the biodiversity register, which the other center has created. All our plants are now geotagged, and we are continuously, and you can see the picture of some years ago, and now how we have been able to maintain that kind of biodiversity. We are doing some sincere efforts. We have our presence on dashboard. We were highly commended by the Green Gout Awards. But let me switch gears and let me talk more about how we involve students and motivate students in our journey, because I think that's something which is very important. And as an institute, we always want our students to be part of this journey towards positive impact. Now, when we think about different formats, I am reminded of Professor Mintzberg, this powerful statement that leaders aren't created in a classroom. So what needs to be done? And there are a lot of research which is talking about that competencies which our traditional MBA curriculum is addressing is inadequate, because society is still facing, there is a theory and practice gap in the management education. Many, reports are quoting, and this is a little dated report, but very relevant today also, because it talks about that how business schools graduates are very good in analytical skills. But when it comes to the skills related to flexibility or empathy or compassion, they lack those skills. So when we reflected in 2008-9, we decided that we want to give students an opportunity to be able to experience and reflect on that. And we realized that service learning is a wonderful pedagogy, which, of course, it's a structured learning experience, which has an action component, as well as it has an equally important emphasis on reflection. So, and I personally believe that learning happens when you reflect on your actions. So reflection component is very important. So if you see the literature also, many of the scholars have talked about that this service learning kind of pedagogy in the curriculum that allows students or participants to actually relate better, experience better. So what we did in 2010-11, we actually created a mandatory course, which we named that time as Give Goa, giving back to Goa. Goa is a place where we are situated. And we said that all our students will go and work with the community. And our aim was that students should be able to describe the real world problems, because the research was pointing out that students, management students, first of all, most of the management students who admit into the business schools, they have that a kind of elite notion. We wanted to break that, and we wanted to provide that kind of experience with the ground realities. So we started this Give Goa project, and our aim was that students who will undergo this will have that experience of describing at least the real world problems. In some ways, they will help those communities and those groups to implement those changes. And of course, we have had this hope that they will also realize and feel inclined towards making more and more contributions. How this was operationalized. So as you can see on my screen, the students are at the core. So all our students are divided into group of 5 or 6 members. We make sure that the groups are designed or formed in such a way that there is a diversity within the group. And then these groups, they worked with partner organizations. So partner organizations could be banks, could be NGOs, could be government departments, could be schools, and they worked on 20 Thursday. That's the model we have been running for last 12 years. And they visit every Thursday for 20 Thursdays and contribute in the assigned project. And I'll elaborate with one or two examples. In this process, we also have a Give Goa coordination team who is responsible for sourcing, identifying these kind of community engagement projects, and help students to choose those kind of projects. Every single project has a faculty guide, because we believe that those mentoring by the faculty guide is equally important in their journey. Before I talk about the example, let me show you this small video, and then I will talk about an example from the last year.
Give Goa for me has been synonymous with my entire life at GIM. Everyone has a skill set. As they say, that nobody has a disability, everyone has an ability. So that definitely, in today's point when I look back, it has taught me a life lesson. I've learned to give back to the society from which we belong. Tremendous learning curve for me.
They all deeply cared about the children and the families that they were working for. And this is something that I have tried to instill in teams that I work with even today, to have that common purpose, to go beyond your deliveries and your top lines and your bottom lines, and to have a goal, a broader goal in place that everybody in the team aligns on. And I think that really is one huge ingredient that goes towards successful teams.
I'm sure that you might have got some idea. Please keep your questions coming in so that I know that what. So this Give Goa initiative, which was running for last 12 years, we did projects, variety of different projects, largely in the field of livelihood, agriculture, health, education. To give you one example of last year, one group of students, they worked with Confederation of Indian Industries, CII, and Young India. They were the partner, and the project was about accessibility audit of ATMs, automatic teller machines, these bank ATMs. Now, when we say accessibility audit, what we mean by accessibility audit? So in this accessibility audit, students, first of all, the guideline, there are federal government, federal bank guidelines, which is our Reserve Bank of India. The guidelines are very clear, and the guideline states that at least 1/3 of the ATMs in a locality should be made accessible to people with disability. And there are very clear guidelines which says that there is a presence of proper signboards, there should be ramps with the standard gradient, there should be a doorway that should allow, and that should be wide enough so that, people who are on wheelchair, they can access easily. There should be height of the switches where they are located, height of the doorknobs handles, brails on all touch points, screen readers, and non-slippery floors. So the group who was working on this accessibility audit, first, they understood about the accessibility because they never thought about ATMs. They have always used ATMs to withdraw money or to update their passbooks, but they never thought that what could be the accessibility dimensions here. So students became more aware, and then they started they underwent a training to understand these accessibility issues and also the guidelines. Then what they did in Goa, they actually audited 100 ATMs. 100 ATMs they audited, and to be able to understand this better, students also experience sitting in wheelchairs, and while sitting on wheelchairs, they try to access and see that restricted mobility, how easily they can access those facilities. It was very surprising that approximately 90% of the ATMs, they lacked those accessible ramps. And, with the criteria, and many of the ATMs, they do not have that accessibility features like braille buttons or the audio instructions. There was also a general perception that the persons with disability will always be accompanied by someone trustworthy, which will lead to, and that is why maybe that there was a negligence. The students group who worked on this project, first of all, they were able to bring out these kind of things, and they themselves experienced. So this experience made them more sort of a compassionate and gave them some kind of more perspective. Okay, so there is a question: which project have you been the most proud of? I may not be able to probably answer that question. What project? I think there are a lot of projects. I have personally been involved as a faculty mentor, and also when I was the Give Goa coordination team, we started this Give Goa initiative in 2011. So I think initially there were a lot of challenges, but I'm happy. One thing which I'm proud of, there are a lot of organizations which are coming back to us again and again, and I think that's something which makes us all proud. Initial years, it was very tough for us to go out and seek projects. But now, the partner organization, they have seen this kind of contribution and they have started coming. But the project which I just mentioned about the ATM audits, I think that came as a shock to us, that the 90% of the ATMs, they lack those accessibility features. Then the state commissioners for person with disability immediately took cognizance of this kind of experiential study. And now they are also asking our students, 2 groups currently are working on the accessibility audit and suggesting some kind of solutions for all the government departments. So we have worked with self-help groups. One of my group worked with a self-help group, and the intention was how we can help those self-help groups. Self-help groups are the rural women largely. They join together to increase their livelihood. So these student group, they understood the SHG challenges, and they helped the SHG to market their products in a better way. They connected them to the different markets and helped them increase their income. So that gives us some kind of positivity. On the screen, you can see that in last more than 10-11 years, we have done projects which are related with education, related with public health, related with social welfare, and of course, more than 3,000 students have been involved in creating this social impact. We think about most of our projects are related with, of course, they talk about the partnership for goals, but societal, because health related projects were many. the education related. Our students have worked with autistic kids, our students have worked with dropout kids, and in that process, they have learned a lot about and become more compassionate about. So what we have achieved through these kind of initiatives, first of all, we have been able to facilitate that expansion of financial service in rural and semi-urban areas. Through our students, we have been able to create awareness about digital payments. We have been able to contribute towards the enhancement of financial literacy. We have been able to motivate the rural migrant families to send their children to the school. We have raised awareness among the farmers about the agriculture practices. We have helped farmers through students to understand the need of soil testing, or we have facilitated community health promotions programs, raised awareness on the water conservation, or many such things. There is a 10-year journey of Give Goa was captured in a compendium, which is available online. I can share the link with you later. That actually captures some of our partner organizations, what they think about this initiative. As alumni, in the video you heard two alumni talking about their experience and how when they reflect back 10 years when they experience this, how this project or this initiative, this experience has impacted them. I'll take a pause here, and I will invite you to please share your questions before I talk about the other things. So any other questions, please keep sharing. I will be really happy to answer those questions. Now, when we talk about as an institute, our responsibility, we all are living in this interconnected world, or rather we are more connected than ever before. In this ever connected world, one thing which we are realizing lately is that pressure on our graduates, pressure to do well, pressure to excel, pressure to prove themselves. In this pressure, somehow, we felt that, are we educating hearts, or are we just educating for minds? So what we did, we also started thinking about, and we realized that today management graduate is already puzzled, already anxious about many things. So 2 years back, what we did something very interesting, and I'll invite you to ask your questions in the chat. But let me share this wonderful experiment which we have done last year, and then we repeated in 2023. So first time we started this in 2022. So two of our professors, we have gone through a facilitator program of social, emotional, and ethical learning. This is a curriculum designed by Emory University. And this curriculum talks about the resilience, the compassion, then kindness, these things. So we included this in our induction program when the students come. So we talked about the need for interconnectedness, or need for sharing their emotional journeys, and I think that is something very interesting for us. There's a question in the chat, what I see, that was there any project which impacted also other countries done by GIM students? So so far, with regard to the Give Goa project, we have done locally in Goa, but as I was telling about, in last 12 years we have done this as a 20 Thursdays, working with the local community. But this year, the team, Give Work coordination team, realized that it is time, or as an institute, we decided that it's time that we go beyond Goa. So we have projects now. This is the first year we are going beyond Goa, and we will have projects with NGOs in different parts of India, and we have 1 or 2 international projects also. But as of now, through Give Goa, we have not been able to impact or work in community. But what we have done some collaborative projects with different universities in the past. And those projects are largely the student collaboration on a given research. So for example, we have done a project with Australia-based university on sustainable fashion. So some of their students, they got together and they try to understand the practices in the respective countries and put. Last year, we did a project on ESG reporting because as the compliances are becoming more and more rigid, many of the corporates are now trying to disclose with the financial, they are also disclosing their non-financial, reporting is becoming important. So last year, student group with a university in Portugal, we collaborated and we worked on identifying what are those practices, ESG frameworks present in India and in Portugal, and what we can learn from that. So these kind of collaborative projects we have been doing, but largely not related to community. Maybe this will be the first time when we will have the projects in the community. So please feel free to ask question. I can see another question here. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Please ask your question. So this particular thing which we did about social, emotional, ethical learning, you can see some of the pictures. When the students joined, our aim was, are we able to build a community through that appreciative inquiry, through giving them a positive lens of resilience, giving them some kind of practices or facilitate that kind of conversation on anxiety, excitement, strengthen their need for interdependency. So we did, these things. Apart from this, I'll stop sharing my screen and I'll talk about, and probably if I'll wait for a few more questions to come in. And of course, apart from these Give Goa, we run a lot of collaborative projects. We did a Make the Case where we asked students, not just from India, from the different parts of the world, to engage with us and identify high impact plastic waste solutions. Students engaged. That was really a wonderful initiative. We have collaborated with, as I was mentioning, we have collaborated with Government of Goa on identifying the innovative practices for persons with disability. We have partnered with a variety of different schools on different initiatives. Be it sustainable fashion, ESG, health practices. Aim to Flourish also is a powerful platform. If you want to know more about Aim to Flourish, it's world's first UN SDG-based assignment where the students, they identify a business and they interview the business leader. And I must tell you, I'm guiding students for last many years on Aim to Flourish. When the students, they identify a business and they interview the business leader and listen from the leader about the practices, I think that's something which is very, very insightful, enlightening, and broaden their horizon. That sustainability is not afterthought. Sustainability today, responsible practices today has become, it's no longer a choice. It has become part of your strategic decisions. People are talking about those circular practices. So it's not about doing less bad. It's all about how we can have those regenerative practices. So that's something which we have been successfully able to do in last few years. Apart from this, of course, the faculty do a lot of research in different field, and that research something has to be meaningful, has to be impactful. So many of our faculty members, they are doing collaborative research on issues like modern slavery, on issues like health, sanitation, livelihood. these are the areas where the faculty is doing research. Are there any questions? I'll be happy to take questions before I, talk through some of my closing remarks. Please feel free to put it in the chat, your questions. Okay. As of now, I don't see any question coming, but I'm sure that you have some idea about the kind of things we do. And personally, I believe in the power of collaboration, because I think, today, if we collaborate, we can do many things. And what we want through this education system, we want that our students, our graduates should be compassionate. I firmly believe that if we are able to provide or drive that well-being of others, be it planet, be it people, and we are able to understand the impact of our lives, our actions, and our choices for a larger community, for the environment, I think that's something which is very important, because the world of work is changing, requirements are changing, maybe the demands are changing, workplace expectations are changing. And in this changing world, we require a more focus on our well-being. We need to tell our graduates about those settling practices, those grounding practices. That's something which is very important. I'm reminded of His Holiness the Dalai Lama always say that if you want to be happy, practice compassion. And if you want others to be happy, practice compassion. And I think that's something which is very important. So if there are no questions, let me show you my slide again, which talks about definitely a message which I want to give all of you. Work is important, but I think it's high time that collectively we stop glorifying overwork and we pay attention to our well-being. Very important. We all need to come together. Of course, there are a lot of inspirational messages, but at this moment, I am reminded of a quote by Honorable Desmond Tutu. And he has shared that it may seem daunting, but I am a prisoner of hope. We are more connected, than ever before. We have more knowledge. And there are solutions if we work collaboratively together. Today's technology is a great asset in encouraging global cooperation and understanding, and I unquote. So let us together build that compassionate, circular, and collaborative society. And I once again thank you all for your patient listening. There's a question in the chat which talks about, have you noticed more discussion combining well-being and sustainability? Yes, there are discussions started happening, and one such as the workplaces also, and on social media also, people have started writing, people have started sharing about these kind of things. And sustainability discussion is now in the mainstream. Earlier, many of the business schools were talking about sustainability as a course, additional course. But nowadays, the discussion is happening how the functional courses like marketing, operation, finance, they have the sustainability integrated in their courses. And I think that kind of discussion is very promising and very, very positive. Even in corporates, I will be happy to see when there is no sustainability department as such in corporates, where the sustainability is part of the finance, the sustainability is part of the operations, and that's what we talk about, the regenerative. So, of course, the people like us who believe in this power of sharing the good or our failures also. Of course, when I talked about Give Goa, there were always challenges, but we sailed through those challenges. So my message in this new year would be, please collaborate more, believe in that power of compassion. And I'm 100% sure together we will be able to make this world a beautiful place. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.